So sometimes, when you work with talents, sometimes the money side of things can be a bit of an issue. Some talents may not always want to pay, or they may just say, well, we can work with you on a promotional basis. You can style me, and then I'll tag you. And I'm like, that does not really work well for my pocket. And generally, some people think it's all about social media. That's what's going to drive the sales. But I can tell you, I don't really have up to 2,000 followers, but we're sold to over 1,000 people around the world. Some of the best stylists that I look at now, some of them just have one client, and that one client is enough to pay their bills, etc. And they're still making a good living from just working for one person.
Hello, you're watching Trades and Profit with Michael O'Connor, and today I have a celebrity stylist as a guest.
Hi, my name is Sean Azeez-Bright. I'm a fashion stylist and co-founder of Focus Man Fashion. You're watching Threads and Profits.
This episode is brought to you by 1219 Styles. For quality bespoke suits crafted to perfection, all from the comfort of your home. Schedule a virtual measurement today at www.1219styles.com.
Mr. Chona, I don't want it to be too formal. It's just us having
conversation.
It is nice having you on the day that we're finally doing this. Can you talk me through your journey?
My background in styling, when the fashion industry, I'd say, started from about the age of, I think, 15 or 16. I started. I had a real interest in fashion when I discovered this online reality TV show called The Rachel Zoe Project. And I was fascinated by what the job of a stylist was, because I'd always been into fashion, but not necessarily did I want to become a designer, because I understood the process was quite different and probably a bit more, I wouldn't want to use the word tedious, but I'd say it was a much more of a different process of how I would want to enter into the fashion industry. So when I discovered there was a role for styling, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. And I saw that she was around celebrities. She got to style them and like put together outfits for them and go to fashion week and travel around the world. So I thought, oh, this is the job for me. So then I discovered I was looking around, like, how do I get experience? So I Googled, and I remember coming across someone was doing like a London Fashion Week show, this production company, and I said, hey, I emailed them and said, hey, I'm interested in getting some experience working backstage. I want to get into styling. And they were like, just come. So I came and I got to do a bit and bobs and understanding what is that working backstage. Then I decided to go and actually study in it as education. So I did like a level 3 course in fashion retail at the Fashion Retail Academy. And that was at the time owned by what was known as by the owner of Topman, who owned Topshop and all these other big brands under the Arcadia group at the time. So I went there, I studied there for 2 years to really get a really good knowledge of fashion. So at the time, that was also a really good point for me, because I met a lot of people in my class who were also like-minded like me myself. While I was still studying, I was looking for opportunities to get more industry experience. So I happened to had emailed another stylist who was doing some really amazing things at the time. He was working on this really big project, I should say, which was on X Factor. That project was he was one of the judges' stylists at the time. This was 2011. So I emailed him and I was like, hey, I'm really looking for some experience. And you know what? He gave me an opportunity. 6 months I was interning for this guy. I won't really mention his name, but it was a really great opportunity he gave me. To be honest with you, he actually doesn't realize how he changed my life, because he introduced me to the ins and outs of what it takes to be a stylist. So I learned how do I develop my contacts with working with fashion brands. So which is having the opportunity to pick the clothes, return the clothes, all of those stuff were part of the learning process of being a stylist. He taught me how to email, which was also a great thing. I know it sounds silly, he taught me how to email, but there's a certain tone and there's a certain way you would email a PR company so you can get the right clothes for the right celebrity that you're working with. So he taught me all those little things that I was able to build my knowledge and to gain some interesting experience. Then after that, I moved on to work with another stylist who's a really big stylist within the music industry. She also taught me a lot of things as well, how to hold a client, just loads of different things that I also didn't know. and mainly being on music videos, because I've seen more. By that time, I was getting the experience of going to music videos with her, or sitting in like doing magazine shoots, just seeing how we would relate to like a lot of these big like celebrities. These are big celebrities, people that you've watched on TV. They're like, I used to listen to your music, and I'll just sit there and like actually be like inspired by like how far this can actually go for me. And yeah, she taught me a lot. She probably doesn't realize it, but I call her like my older mentor, and she's actually like a really good person. I followed a lot of stylists on Instagram and on the social media, and I remember there's this one guy called Hugo. He's like some big American Nigerian stylist, and I always used to see him start for this magazine, and they were called Blue Magazine. And I was like, this magazine is so interesting because he had a lot of celebrities who I knew of and who I could relate to. So I remember I just said, let me just email them, see what happens. I remember I emailed them, didn't think much of it. It took them a month to respond, but someone from the team actually responded and was like, hey, we like what you do. Yeah, sure, I would be interested. And like, obviously, meeting with you and seeing how you can contribute to the magazine. So that's how the relationship built with working with Blue.
You used to work with them, so now?
In and out, I still, like, if there's an opportunity to work with them. Recently, it hasn't been as frequent as it used to be, but here and there, I still work with them. So whether it's covering fashion content, styling celebrities for shoots that they want done in the UK, or just doing fashion editorials, I still work with them. But as I grew, I was always trying to push my freelancing career. So I would still work with like different people within the industry to kind of build my client list and to also have a good network, because, you know, this industry is really built on relationships. So I try not to just be like, you know, just focused on just working with one particular magazine. I would also want to work with other magazines. So sometimes when there's opportunities to work for another magazine on a freelance basis, I would take the opportunity. That's kind of been my journey. There's been other issues, maybe things that I may have missed out, but I'm sure we'll dive into it.
You've had a very interesting journey, which is one of the reasons I set out to start this podcast for, especially in the fashion space, because I'd seen a lot of people who love fashion, and they love fashion and it ends at fashion. Them just loving fashion, being like the consumer of the clothes, not knowing that the ways for them to build a career in fashion. You have been able to take your passion of styling, and you've not just stopped at styling, you've been able to convert it into bringing in money for you. From your own story, it was just you being relentless, you trying to reach out, you trying to push out, you believing in yourself to say that, oh, I have this gift in me that I can offer value to the rest of the world. So how would you say that the journey has been so far? You said you started at 16 and now you're 30, and that's 14 years. So how would you say, like, the 14 years journey, how would you say it has been so far?
So for me, I would say the 14 years journey, it's been an interesting one. So even though I was still doing all this styling, I was still working as well, like, you know, just because at the end of the day, you got to put food on the table. And I'm just going to be real with you, like, even though I was a student, I still had to, like, you know, have another side job on the side. Just because not every job you would do was going to be paid. Or sometimes you would have a job that's paid and then you're waiting for the invoice to clear. And like, you have to be honest with yourself and very transparent. If you want to make this work, you have to, I hate using the word hustle, but you have to literally think on your toes. So that had been the journey for quite a while. As I've matured, the opportunities have been coming in more because of the experience and the knowledge. My relationships with a lot of people within the entertainment world is very important to gain clients. So whether that's, if I meet someone at an event, I'm probably going to exchange my contacts with you because I know there's a potential there. I remember when we met, so how I got that job working was actually through the lady who was a makeup artist at the time, and she still is. She met me one time on a shoot. We did a project, and then she just always kept in touch. I didn't think much of it. I didn't know that she was also working with him, and she gave me the
John Boyega.
Yes. So she gave me the opportunity to work with him. I mean, it was a very interesting experience for me in particular, just because sometimes that relationship that you build with people, you never know where it's going to lead to, and that's where it led to me having to work with him. So I worked with Patrice, Évra.
Patrice Évra, the Manchester defender.
Yes. So again, that job came through a relationship that I built up with a music manager, and he just remembered me and was like, Sean, there's an opportunity here to work on this campaign. It'll be featured so, and he put me in touch with the production agency, and that was it. Like, the relationship was built. I mean, Patrice was a really nice guy. I really enjoyed working with him on that project. It was a massive billboard campaign that was used at the time of the African Cup of Nations. So it's been a really good journey in the fashion industry so far. For me as well, I've been more focused on like, how can I make this actually a career as opposed to just be everywhere and anywhere? Because as you can imagine, working in this industry, so sometimes, you know, when you work with talents, sometimes they feel, or not necessarily, but sometimes the money side of things can be a bit of an issue. Because it's kind of like you're working with them, and like some talents may not always want to pay, or they may just say, well, we can work with you on a promotional basis, you can style me, so, and then I'll tag you, and I'm like, that does not really work well for my pocket or for my I'm just being very transparent here. But then at the same time, you had opportunities where generally people understand and respect the works of a stylist and are happy to pay, and are actually happy to put you on a retainer and to kind of, you know, just make sure that you're also looked after, and they respect that, and those are the clients that you want to keep around.
Which celebrity will you say you enjoyed working with the most?
I've enjoyed working with everyone so far. I mean, I've never had any issues with any clients. I would say no celebrities have given me an issue. I think one thing though that I've learned, and this is something that I think anybody that wants to come into the fashion space, they should take on board, is to always make sure that you have a fitting before the actual main event, the celebrity, because sometimes you might have a vision in mind, but that vision may not suit their whole aesthetic or what they are trying to portray themselves as. So making sure you're fitted them way before the event is a very good thing.
As a stylist, 12, will you define your role as? What will you see your role, your routines?
So my role really as a stylist, I would say, is really to build a relationship with brands. I tend to think about that a bit more as opposed to, especially because I'm more focused around men's fashion, I tend to think more about what brands can I build this client's relationship with. So that relationship would be around how I can get them to potentially be maybe the face of that brand's campaign in the future, or building a relationship that they can go and have opportunities to always access that brand, like future red carpets or future events. So I think relationship building is an important role within the works of a stylist, especially between the brand, because you find some of the new generation of stylists that never went through their system process, or like actually understanding what it means to be a stylist. They don't have a clue as to like how you get in touch with brands, and lots of them are always going to like these high-end boutiques and high-end shops to buy constantly, and then they're returning. And if you have that relationship built with brands, you don't need to always do that. Obviously there is the occasions of you having to always buy and return depending on what the job is for, but generally you should be able to build your relationships with brands for them to give you the opportunity to come to their showroom, pick whatever you like for your talent to wear.
You've had a very interesting time within the styling space, and it's amazing how you've been able to create a niche for yourself. I remember that one of the ways how we met was the day you came to get items for Boyega, and we've been able to keep like a good relationship, and that is why you're here today. And I would say that yes, you're doing fantastically well in that area of building relationship with people, not just even with brands, more like with people. So outside styling, is there any other thing you do? Like?
Yeah, sure. So outside of styling, I started my online luxury retail store about 3 years ago, and officially it was started in 2021, properly online. So what it was, I developed this idea in my last year of university, which was for my graduation in 2016. That was actually what led to me getting my second upper class degree. So I developed this whole idea. So I studied fashion marketing and was called fashion promotion and imaging. But to summarize, it's like fashion marketing. So it's like fashion marketing, styling, anything combined, PR, all of that combined together. So I developed this whole store concept, which was around like retailing luxury items and retailing those luxury items more focused around like how can consumers access these items for less than the retail price. Because one thing that I found is that I had a real interest in going to, well, not necessarily go to like these big retail stores or big department stores that are well known. I generally would go to like what you call like sample sales or archive sales, where these designers had the same item that you maybe might be looking in the store, but it's maybe about a few seasons old, and they're discounting it up to like 80 to 90% off. And I always used to wonder, why don't people know about these type of stuff? And here I am, I'm never paying full price for designer items. I'm paying like maybe like less than what I'm seeing people are paying for it in the shop, and I'm getting it for a fraction of price. So I started looking into this market, and I noticed that there were quite a few people doing what I'm doing, selling outlet fashion and making it a bit more appealing to people. Because sometimes when you think of outlet fashion, you think of like retailers, like obviously not the big ones, think of like the more higher end ones like and Best Village. Well, one thing I also wanted to do was just make sure that it was a curated array of designers that I could showcase to people, and they can buy it online from the comfort of their home, without actually having to go into the store or having to like, you know, maybe to like shop through TK and that. So I was able to find loads of suppliers in the UK and in Italy that who I have a relationship built with, and I was able to kind of figure out a business model that works well to like put these brands out. So when the business started, it was very interesting. You know, some people had the issue of trying to make sales. I had the opposite. I had the issue of making so much sales that I didn't know how to like really like manage it. Like, you know, it was a problem that I was like, this thing is way bigger than what I imagined it to be. And like sometimes I would talk to friends that were in business, and I could tell that they didn't really quite get what I was going through. And I'm like, but you have a business. Like, but sometimes the conversation would be like, I'm like, how do I deal with this? Well, nobody actually knew how to advise me. So I started seeking for help. And this help came in the form of seeking for mentorship, seeking for investment, seeking for like, you know, people like who I can partner with. It took a very long time till I found someone that I knew that would make sense for the brand and for the business, because although this is my name attached to it, well, not many people know I'm also running a fashion business, and this fashion business is literally, to some people, dealing with over 100 orders per month. Doesn't sound much, but when the average order value is about £200 and you're just a one-man team running it, that's quite a lot, especially when you have no financial backing, you're bootstrapping,
You just starting out.
yeah, it's eating. There's a lot of capital, and then although you're making the money, but sometimes you may run into issues with your payment processor. You may run into issues around like, you know, maybe customers are just having customers. For example, I probably never shared this with anyone, but like, and that's so much money due to the fact that somebody or some guy and group of their friends bought so much stuff, and then they did a chargeback. At the beginning, we were really fresh, 3 months of moving business. That was a couple of thousands of pounds. They didn't chargeback. So a chargeback is basically, for example, those that work within the e-commerce space will know what a chargeback is. For example, they bought something, but they said they never bought it with their card. They said that they may say that they may have used a stolen card, or they may have said that this is not them that made the transaction. So they will call their bank up. Yeah, they'll call their bank up, and then the bank would then
And you deliver the items.
they redeliver the items. You provide tracking numbers. But sometimes some of these people, they're so smart, and sometimes you don't always win these chargebacks. Sometimes you could argue it and dispute it, or provide you can win, and then sometimes there's issues around it. But you know, running a business these are all the parts of why you know from running the business. And to be fair, that wasn't really the tip of the iceberg. There was also issues around with my suppliers, just learning like pricing and margins, because working within the one thing that a lot of businesses fail generally it's because of like the margins as well. And sometimes from me being a creative, and you can be so caught up on like the aesthetic, or more like making sure that your brand has a certain look that was supposed to carry a certain way. And generally some people think it's all about social media, that's what's going to drive the sales. But I can tell you, I don't even have up to 2,000 followers on my business Instagram, but we're sold to over 1,000 people around the world. And this is me just running a small business. And this is like the numbers were there. And like, I remember presenting it to so many people, and some people are interested in the business, but then at the same time, you know, sometimes it's the risk of the numbers. And I remember that was something that I needed to really work on. And thank God I got this new co-founder that's come on board. He's very experienced within fashion, well, in general within e-commerce, and he just has the knowledge of what it takes to like grow and scale businesses like myself. And so yeah, that's really been a journey of us just working together and just seeing how best we can grow this business. I'm not gonna lie to you, when some people hear about my brand or they hear about it, they generally probably don't think, he must be making a lot of sales, or they must be thinking he must not be making a lot of sales. But generally, the orders that I was getting there is making me to the point so stressed out, because as a new business owner, you're like, how do you handle this demand? I did not know this demand would kick off. So I actually took a break for a good couple of months just to figure out what to do and how to like handle some of the issues that were at hand. But yeah, the business is in a position where I want it to appeal to more people and to reach to more heights, you know. So it's not been an easy journey, but at the same time, I'm grateful for people who have given us a go, because you know sometimes it's also risky getting new businesses an opportunity.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but regardless, you've been keeping it moving.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I've always had people complain about, they're just starting out, they don't have enough customers. It's as crazy that on your own end, it's as the other way around.
Do you know it is? We're going to tell you why. So, because I'm a luxury shopper myself, I knew the tricks of how to generate sales.
Okay.
And I probably won't share it on this podcast. But by not just sharing, there are certain tricks or certain marketing tactics that do not involve you having to focus so heavily on your social media. Because like social media is great, it's just for the show, man. Like even trying to focus so heavily on the influencer marketing, you'd be so surprised how many influencer agencies always email my brand to ask, we have this influencer, we would love to work with you guys to help you guys, etc., to push your sales. And to be honest with you, I'm not ready for that yet, because I'm more focused on the sales side of things. But there are so many different tactics that you can use to really push your sales. That does not really involve social media, that does not involve you having to even spend too much money on ads. Yeah, it's just there's different ways around it. But it's generally, again, it's just because my knowledge is in fashion, so I have a lot of experience being another luxury fashion. I know where I used to go to buy these stuff, so I'm like, I can utilize those platforms to create this type of sale, to create X amount. So, and generally it's worked. The one side of my journey as well has been having a good relationships with my suppliers, because not having those good relationships with my suppliers, then the business can suffer. So sometimes that's one thing. I'm very grateful that I have understanding suppliers that have also been understanding, and they've also tried to help where they can. And then at the same time, just trying to show people that you want to be here for a long time as well.
Yes.
So sometimes as well, like within a business, it being so new, I've just been focused on making sure I tidy up all the bits that could help the business grow the business better. But yeah, the journey is not easy. Like a lot of people come into this like direct to consumer market or e-commerce market, and they discover the journey is not easy, regardless of it being that you're trying to raise capital, or you're trying to make sure that you have the right product fit, or trying to make sure that you have the winning product. All of those things it's all part of the learning curve. And there's been a lot of stuff that I'm still learning, despite having a build knowledge and understanding of fashion. Yeah.
I don't think it's something you would learn and you're meant to, and that's the thing. It is forever evolving. By the time you're about to scale the business again to like a bigger size, then you then find out that there is more thing and there's more thing you need to learn, there's more thing you need to die, and there is more challenges for you to face. There was something you said earlier on that I've been writing on lately. You probably do not need a lot of followers on social media. Because I've heard a lot of people, especially content creators, influencers who want to and think that I'm not yet taking this thing serious. I need to grow the numbers of followers I have. I need to grow. I need my content creating game to buy more for me to start making money from there. But I discovered that you do not even need a whole lot of followers there on social media to make money.
So for me, yes, so that's very much true. So like even when you look at my social media following, like I'm following probably on my personal page, I'm following more people than people are following me. But along the lines, it's really my relationships that I built. And sometimes, it can be disheartening when you look at it. There's some people will look at your social media first before they be like, maybe should I work with him or should I work with her, etc. But for me, one of the things that helped is the relationships that I built. Okay, I always say this: relationships are key. And I'm a man of faith, and there's this one pastor I listen to called Apostle Joshua Selman, and he always talks about relationships. Apostle Joshua Selman. Oh, okay. I remember I listened to one of his sermons, and it was speaking about relationships, and that always just clicked things in my head. So anywhere I go, I make sure that I try to build that connection with someone, because you never know who may be able to help you along the way, and that is the very important key. So for me, anyway, social media in general is there to amplify your voice. Oh yeah, don't make it to be an end all of like your life, because at the end of the day, like I want to make sure that I'm doing something that is reflecting in my bank account, and that is reflected in how I live and my lifestyle. COVID advice to just keep going up the facade and looking like a business. And like some of the best stylists that I look at now, some of them just have one client, and that one client is enough to like maintain their life, to pay their bills, etc. And they're still making a good living from just working for a person. And that client is taking them as well along the journey of their success as well, because as our clients getting bigger, they're getting known for working them on this shoot, that campaign. So sometimes if I'm not trying to be everywhere as a good thing, for me as a stylist, I'm still trying to figure out I'm still trying to work with just that one big client that would just be enough, as opposed to like just working different people here and there. And I love to work with many people, don't get me wrong, but having just one set client that that's going to put you in your detainer is a good thing.
Only but see your working city.
Yeah, because and I think it's very important, because there's been times when I get called to do a job so last minute, and then like it just like the communication process is messed up. Like someone's just come into the UK for a couple of days or maybe for a couple of weeks, and then like they desperately need a stylist, and they need a stylist to get them their clothes within the next 3 to 4 hours. And I've done my best to get them clothes, and then the clothes gets to their hotel or to wherever they're gonna be performing at. They're not happy with the outfit that they're due to wear, and I'm like, well, you didn't give me enough time. You requested for a stylist within like a space of a couple of hours, and like we can't just do a turnaround. And this is where sometimes you find some stylists that will just go to the shop and buy something themselves, for the client to wear. But then sometimes it doesn't work out well financially if you do that, because then we have to consider your own factory, your own budgeting. You have to factor the fact that you might not be paid for XY amount to maybe a couple of weeks, or even up to a month, or it can even be more than a month. For me to factor all of these things in before you'd think, should I go and buy, and then we return it, and then let's say the item was won by the artist, and then it's not returnable because it didn't really stay any. So sometimes that is why I said it's really important to have a relationship with brands, because brands will generally then they have that facility to lend you clothes from their showroom to put on a teller.
Makes sense. We've had a very amazing conversation, and thank you so much. What will you say if you were to look back to say to advise the 16-year-old Sean when he was just talking about what advice will you give? What is that advice for you to Sean?
Good question. So the older me would have been like, be patient with certain things, because don't get me wrong, when the younger version of me probably messed up a few relationships at an earlier start in my career. Because sometimes, like they say, like with this creative world, we can be quite, I wouldn't say ego is the word, we want to be seen, but being patient that your time will come. I still feel like, even though I might be known a bit, but I'm still not at the top of where you want to be within the next couple of years or even the next couple of months. So I would say the one thing I would say is be patient and don't rush through seasons, because then seasons are very important. They're character building, that's one thing I would say. Enjoy the season like you're real. Yeah, because you learn from it. Try to maybe look into like maybe studying it as well, because one thing that helps as well, when you study it, you meet people that who you can call friends that work in the industry. So for example, a lot of my friends that I met in college and university that studied fashion, a majority of them still work within whether it's in the music or the fashion space. I had that relationship with them, and that helps you to get access to, like, maybe you need access to clothes from a specific showroom that they work at, or maybe you need access to like getting someone's contact within the industry. They can give you that opportunity. So relationships again are key. So try to never mess that up. And never wrong, you might do one or two things that may go wrong, but yeah, hey, it's part of life, isn't it? And just grow from it,
If there's one thing I would tip on for the app and it's your emphasis on relationships. That's very good.
It's, for me, relationships has been the real reason why I'm here today, because if I had it worth just sending people at the earliest span of my career, I don't think I would have the opportunity that I had it now. So relationships are important.
Which artist or celebrity did you work with that was like the game changer?
One experience I think I really enjoy was working with Central C, just because Black Knight is like one of the biggest rappers from the UK or even in the world globally. He's like known by American artists and he's known by UK artists. So having an opportunity, I'm not his main stylist, is actually a girl that styles him, but just having the opportunity to work to improve the magazine that I contribute to, that was a great opportunity, because I noticed how my images would they were always going viral on like TikTok or like Instagram. People were reposting the images on different like blogging pages. So I think that was a really great opportunity. So it's really been a journey, and working with that magazine in particular, Blue Magazine, has also helped as well in terms of the relationships that I built. Because like more people take you seriously when you're attached to a magazine. I don't know why. It's just maybe they want to work with an editor because they know they can get their brands B2 and the magazine that will help their sales, etc. Yeah, it's been a journey. Man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my top, it was still a pleasure talking. Yeah. Just to round up, I have this game I play. It's a this or that game. So either white or black. Yeah. So which is your favorite color? Which will you go for? White or black? Ooh. I said what? White. White. Yeah. Okay. I'm a big fan of white. They give you about white as well. Winter or summer?
Remember that's a popular name. I would say I like winter just because you can layer up, but in the summer, maybe because I'm a bit more older now, I like freer and baggy stuff. So in the summer, when I go to Paris in the summer for Fashion Week, for Paris Fashion Week, I just love the fact that I can wear whatever I like and not having to feel cold. When I go to Paris in January for the winter, for the Fashion Week, I'm always so cold to the point that I'm wearing extra layers. I'm wearing a balaclava, and I'm just like constantly like just trying to keep warm. So maybe let's go for summer. So it said winter maybe a few years back, but I say summer. If Paris or London, you know what?
You have it?
I would live in Paris, just because for me London is home. But it's just, I'm gonna be honest with you, it feels too expensive right now. Yeah, it's just like if you ain't got the money to really enjoy London, you're not gonna really enjoy the benefits of it. I feel like
Louis Vuitton or Gucci.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say Gucci just because I sell Gucci on my Cope is mad. So I'm gonna say Gucci.
Anyways, we've come to the end of